Some characters really stick with us, and we find ourselves remembering them even years after playing a game. Clementine is such a character for most of us who play the Walking Dead Telltale games. Today we're getting into the details and dissecting Clementine's journey in the games, and what about it makes her such a memorable and loved character. Needless to say, there will be spoilers for the games, so I highly recommend you play them or watch them if you haven't already and then come back here. One obvious reason why we come to love Clem is that we spend a lot of time with her, and we see her grow throughout the games, but there's more to it. More people take a liking to her really early on and have an urge to protect her in this crazy apocalypse scenario. Is it just because she's an innocent kid thrust into this world in this array? Well, to answer that question, let's dive into episode 1 of season 1, A New Day. The series kicks off with Lee, who will be our main protagonist. He's being driven to jail as the car crashes and he gets attacked by a walker. He runs into a suburb area where he finds an 8-year-old small Clementine waiting for her parents who had left on a trip before the zombies hit. Well, they don't ever call them zombies, but just calling a spade a spade. Lee and Clem decide to stick together and they go seek refuge at a nearby farm, where they meet the other characters you'll stick with, Kenny and his wife Katya, and their son Duck. This is a weird one because everyone kept telling me they hated Duck, but I found him to be the one trace of fun and innocence untouched by the apocalypse throughout this whole damn thing. Things take a turn and the group ends up at a pharmacy in Lee's hometown, where they hole up against some more undead and also meet Lily, a girl with an attitude and also a remarkable inability to operate a basic battery device. Her dad is also a piece of work, and immediately he will be trouble. The group has grown and expanded after all that, and they end up at a farm, where a family seems to be welcoming and maybe a little too warm. Pretty soon you start to get weird ass vibes from them, especially the creepy mom talking about her stew, taking your mind to the fact that there are no animals around and what the hell is in that stew. Eventually you discover that indeed they eat people and were trying to feed you a human leg. Confrontations ensue and the group comes out on top. Not only that, but luck seems to smile on them, since they come across a car full of provisions, giving you the choice to fully partake or ignore them. This is an annoying bit where the game is trying to guilt trip you into not stealing things when, come on guys, it's literally the end of the world. Just take the supplies and move on. However, their luck doesn't hold since poor Duck, yes, I like Duck, okay, leave me alone, gets bitten by a walker at a motel zombie attack. Obviously, Kenny and Katya are devastated and eventually have to deal with that situation and end Duck's suffering. All that is just too much for Katya, and she commits suicide, leaving Kenny desolated. Also, the group tosses out Lily, who has become completely unstable, and they meet Omid and Krista, who are new additions to the gang. At this point, the plan crystallizes. Get it? Because it's Krista and... okay. They now have a plan to go to the coast and find a boat. They encounter another group of survivors there, and they go on a raid to find some supplies and a battery for a motorboat they found. Things seem to be aligning, but Clem goes missing, and Lee gets bit by a walker when trying to find her. Eventually, Clem's kidnapper contacts Lee over a walkie to tell him that he has Clem at a downtown building. Lee gets separated from the group as all this shit hits the fan and goes to rescue Clem alone. To his surprise though, it's the owner of the car, whose supplies Lee's group took back at the cannibal farm. He blames Lee for the deaths of his family due to losing those supplies, which is absolute horse shit. I mean, come on my dude, you left supplies unattended in a zombie apocalypse? Take some ownership over your mistakes instead of blaming others, but I digress. They killed the dude who couldn't accept his own mistakes and covered themselves in guts to sneak through the walker horde that's outside. Here Clem finds her undead parents, by which I mean they're, dead, but they're zombies and shit. Lee collapses and wakes up in an abandoned store where Clem took him, and he's in bad shape. The player must make a call. Does Lee ask Clem to kill him, or does she leave him behind? In my playthrough, I chose for Clem to kill Lee and this will forever be with me as one of the most gut-wrenching gaming moments ever. This season is a perfectly crafted story where at the end Clem picks up the mantle of protagonist from Lee in a tragic way. After that, we will forever care about Clem, and the foundation for why we love the character is set. All the other seasons just build on that, but this first season is precisely what makes Clem into a character we love so dearly, and that is why I went into so much detail describing the events in it. In Season 2, Clem is 11 years old and continues her adventures with Krista and Omid, and things are looking pretty bleak to say the least. They do reunite with Kenny, who is also in the area though. The main bad guy here is Carver, who leads a small community out of a hardware store. The main additions to the group here are Jane and a newborn baby called AJ. At the end, there is a confrontation between Kenny and Jane that allows the player to choose between who will die. Kenny having become completely unstable and unreliable, or Jane having shown to be manipulative as well. In the next season, New Frontier, Clem is 13 years old. The weird thing is she takes a step back into less of a protagonist, which really hurts the game in my opinion. I couldn't really bring myself to care about any of the characters the game was pushing on me. Happily, the final season was a return to form. Here Clem is between 16 and 18 years old, and the story revolves around her and little AJ. At the end, we go back full circle when Clem is bit in the leg and is in the very position that Lee found himself in at the end of Season 1. Does she ask AJ to kill her or leave her? The player gets to choose that. I chose for him to kill her at that point. That was a very clever way to nod back to the moment that made the series so unique with Lee's tragic death, and having Clem go through that very same situation here. The passing of the mantle once again takes place, and it's a very fitting end to a great story. This is just one of the awesome story games that we play on my streams, which you can find here on YouTube and on Twitch. Links and times for that down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.